Y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
That's good. Like Russell said, I joined the club in 1971. No, y'all didn't think I was that old, right? It was me, Russell Proctor, he was the president of Belknap Hardware, and 7 women. And they were all garden club ladies, you know. They decided they were interested in bonsai, so that's how the club started in 71. Like Russell said, you need good sharp tools to do bonsai and other pruning at the same time, or other shrub pruning. Many times you neglect your bonsai shears, you'll trim them, put them back in the garage or your tool case and not think about sharpening them again until you need them again. Then you want to trim, but you need to sharpen, so you don't sharpen. So I just wanted to give you a little information on basic knives, you know, pocket knives. I was a boy of the 50s. So Bob was a boy of the 50s.
40s.
Huger was a boy of the 50s. You're not that old. But all the boys in the 50s carried pocket knives. And you know, you started out with Boy Scout knives, and I had a Boy Scout knife. And 66 years ago, when I was 12, my grandfather gave me this knife. So I've had it for 66 years. And it's a tree brand Volker Silogen steel stock knife with stag bone handle. So I've had it for 66 years. And I sharpen it, you know, occasionally when I need to. You know, in the 50s, that's when Cowboys and Indians were going strong, and the Daniel Boone show with Bess Parker and all that. So we all carried knives, you know, out to play. And, you know, nobody had air conditioning in the houses back then. And so we were outside playing all the time in tree forts and whittling sticks and that sort of thing. So it was a great time to be alive when you could carry a knife. You could carry knives on the airplane back then, you know. When you carry knives a lot of different places and nobody said anything to you. It was a great thing to live through. So who's been to the Vogue Theater at St. Matthews? They don't show movies there anymore, but they used to. So if you don't mind a few stories I tell you, so it makes it interesting, right? So you all won't believe this, but in the 50s, 1955, 56, 57, we'd go to the Vogue on Saturday afternoon, me and my friends. We were in the 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, and the movie started at 1 o'clock, and there was 2 cowboy movies or monster movies. Each of them are an hour and a half, and then between the 2 movies there was an hour of cartoons. And the place was filled with kids. It was crazy. It was wild. And they had an usher that kept law and order with all the kids. And like I said, we were, you know, 9, 10, 11 years old, something like that. And the usher was probably 18 or 19. And so he came around and made sure we all sat in our seats and everything. He gave everybody a lot of trouble since he was like 10 years older than we were, or 6 years. And so me and my 4 buddies were sitting there. We all had pocket knives. And back then, for some reason, you know, that's when Elvis Presley got started. And you had hoods and that sort of thing. Some of these kids were cutting the leather seats at the Vogue. And so it was this other usher's job to make sure you didn't cut the seats. And so he came by. Every kid that was sitting down, he wanted to talk to you. And if you had a knife, he wanted to see it. And so we had to show him our knives, you know. So I showed him this knife. And then his last name was Sidebottom. And so we said, Sidebottom, do you carry a knife? And he said, yeah, I pack a blade. And that just struck me funny. He packs it money. Anyway, so 4 hours of the movies on Saturday cost 18 cents. And when I was in the 6th grade, Russell can't believe that. When I was in the 6th grade, they went up to 25 cents. And my mother said, we don't know if we can afford to send you, for 7 cents. But then they sent us anyway. But we always figured out, once we got older, into our 20s, that their parents wanted to get rid of us on Saturday afternoon for 4 hours so they could have sex. So they paid more than a quarter to get rid of us, So the quarter was no big deal. And that's what they did. They were having sex.
They played cowboys too.
Yeah. Another interesting knife, I'll show you. There's a hawkbill knife. So I graduated from University of Kentucky in 1969, and that fall, I was going to have to go on active duty, basic training for the Army. That was when Vietnam was going strong. So I didn't get a full-time job. So I got a degree in horticulture and landscape design from the UK. So I was in Lexington then, so I went to Hill and Myers Nursery in Lexington. And Hill and Myers started in like 1850, something like that. It's one of the biggest nurseries in the state. And me and 2 other guys were put with this foreman, and that's when taxus shrubs were real popular, taxus bushes. And they had 8 acres of taxus. And they put us out in this field, and these shrub globe taxus, and they had about 2 years of new growth on it. The growth was like 18 inches, and so they had to be trimmed. And the foreman said, "We don't use shears. We never use shears. We use a pruning knife." So they gave us a knife just like this. This is a walnut handle. This is a case knife, and I bought this like 1971, something like that. So we went through 5 acres of these taxus bushes, bending over, use one hand, just go down into the shrub, hook the branch, and just pull it up with your thumb and the blade, and real sharp blade that'll cut it right off. So you're not shearing the taxus perfectly round. You're going in and making holes in the plant so it gets sunlight in. And so as you look at the vision of the plant from the side, for instance, it's kind of undulating. So we trimmed 6 acres of taxus bushes with these hawkbill knives in 1969. All right, there's several different ways to sharpen these things. I'll just start with a knife first. If you all have knives and carry knives, y'all might know how to do this already. This is a Norton sharpening stone. And I bought this probably when I was in the 7th grade. It's got a rough side and then a smooth side. And you generally put oil on it. You can use 3-in-1 oil or camellia oil. Camellia oil will not hurt the plant, the cambium layer. And what you want, you need approximately 20-degree angle on the blade as you sharpen. And with a knife, you don't go back and forth like this. A pocket knife, you can sharpen both sides of the blade. So you go just like you're cutting a piece of bread or butter or a stick, set it at a 20-degree angle and just go through to the tip. You do 4 or 5 that way, and you turn over the blade towards you and do 4 or 5 this direction. So it's just like you're cutting off a piece of meat or butter. You're just slicing the stone back and forth on the rough side. Then you can flip it over and do the smooth side. But the important thing is the 20-degree angle. If you go steeper than that, it's not gonna make it very sharp. So you got that stone.
Question. So when you use the oil on your
Yeah, you put the oil as soon as you start to sharpen.
okay.
Yeah, put the oil on it. Yeah, you don't want to go up without oil, it's too rough. So put the oil on it, and it'll slide better. And like I say, I've had this since the 7th grade, so they last a long time. They make other ones also. This is just, you see, this has been used a little bit more. This is a little smoother than this rough one, so you can buy smaller ones like this. They're a little cheaper, and they work just as well. Then they make even smaller. Instead of rubbing with the tool on the stone, you rub the stone on the tool when you have these smaller ones, you know. So you can still take your knife and go away from you. Sharpen it like that with these smaller stones. And they had it even smaller. You know. So these can go in your toolbox or wherever, and if you're out doing some work, you can just take it out and use it. They all work very well. Got another knife here. One of the guards that worked for me at Cave Hill Cemetery, for those of you who don't know me, I worked at Cave Hill for 41 years. He made me a couple knives, and he made me this knife. It's a tiger stripe maple, and the steel is Damascus steel. And you know, you can buy stainless steel blades like this pruning knife here, or you can buy regular steel, carbon steel, like on this tree. The carbon steel sharpens a lot faster and a lot better. Stainless steel is pretty difficult to sharpen. So he also gave me this sharpener. So this is set at a 20-degree angle. And you know, you hold the knife perfectly vertical and just take it down the sharpening steel. And you got the perfect 20-degree angle. Those work great, and they'll pull out, you can store it. So if you can find that, that's already got the perfect angle. As long as you don't leave your knife at a 90-degree angle, it'll sharpen it very well. He also made me a knife that was perfectly balanced. If y'all can see this. Pretty good trick, isn't it? Now, I know y'all think these are great knives. Now, here's a knife. I've got a collection of these. This is called the Tennessee toothpick. Y'all heard of that knife? If you just want to carry a knife every day, you know, open your mail at work or something like that, single blade, it's got a long blade, and talking about the Tennessee hillbillies, you know, it's a Tennessee toothpick. So you pick your teeth with it. You know what these about? Tennessee toothpick. And keep it in your pocket. So you all think, you know, that's a good knife. That's a cool knife. The one Gene gave me was a cool knife. But that's not a knife. This is a knife. So Gene made me this one too. It's an eagle hunting knife. He carved the eagle head out of a deer antler. Stainless steel. Made the sheath too. So Gene's deceased now, unfortunately, but he was a good knife maker. Okay, another sharpening instrument is these steels. And this is called a dial fold portable steel. And you can keep that in your toolbox or in your pocket and carry it with you. And you just open it. This is fairly rough, and you can use it just like, you know, like you do in the kitchen with your chef knives. Again, you're pushing away and bringing it back to you. Pushing away and bringing it back. This works great. It's rounded. It does a super job. Another one is this Swiss Army Istor sharpener. This can go in your pocket, and it's already set at a perfect 20-degree angle. So just hold your knife, hold your blade out, it's set at the angle, and you just push it. Okay. The Istor Swiss Army. Then, I know some of y'all have shears. Shears can be hard to sharpen. And they made this tool strictly to sharpen shears and loppers. It's called the Garden Sharp. You can buy these at A.M. Leonard and other garden supply places. And you just put it on the blade and pull it towards you. And because it's got this guard, you're not going to cut yourself. Have y'all seen this sharpener? Works great. They're sharp, they do a good job. Now, I have cards on everything here, so after the presentation, you can come up and you can take a picture of the item and the card, and it tells you what it is and where you can buy it, okay? This is a very good tool. You have one of these, Russell?
Bastard file?
Yeah.
The lead file?
Yeah, so it's called a bastard file of all things, right? So the reason it's called a bastard file is because it has an odd grit to it. So it's between coarse cut and second cut. So it means it'll cut steel very fast, but it'll do it smooth. So you can use this on your head shears, your hand shears. It's also good on spades when you want to sharpen your spade. But it's called a bastard file, 8-inch bastard file, and it does a great job if you want to sharpen your garden tools.
It cuts a lot faster than a Sun big file, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's right. So we've been talking about bonsai tools here. A lot of times, you know, as you're pruning your pines, junipers, you're going to get rosin, sap all over your tools. So before you sharpen it the second time after you prune, you need to go through and clean all that sap off before you put it on your stone, because that'll stick on your stone and basically ruin it. So several things you can use. They have these hand blocks. This is a fine and a coarse. And it's a grit impregnated rubber pad, like a Brillo pad. So you can go over the blades on your tools and clean all the crud, the dirt, and the sap off your tools with these. Or you can use sandpaper, and I've used sandpaper quite a bit. They're real fine grit, does it. Our steel wool is very good, works great. But what I do first, if there's a lot of heavy sap on the tool, I'll just take a straight bladed knife and go on the blade and clean all the sap off the blade. And I'd recommend that first. That gets everything off down to the steel, and you can clean it up much better with the sandpaper or the sanding block or the steel wool. But use one of these knives.
Lee, can I interrupt your presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, in addition to using a knife to kind of scrape off for some sandpaper, Rubbing alcohol is a great solvent to get on there, and you can scrub that off, and that helps it.
Right.
You've got very, very thick fish, but.
Yeah, that's right. And then after you sharpen, you know, you should always use some oil. And they're talking about the camellia oil a lot now. It's plant-based. It won't hurt your trees as you trim. And you can also use a little 3-in-1 oil in the joint, you know, in the joint back here to keep it working good. The two shears you can have to sharpen most probably are your needle nose pruners. The concave pruner, I didn't bring one with me, but you know the concave pruner, there's one over here in the raffle. They're very difficult to sharpen because the jaws can't come together. They have to be offset a little bit. And I took an old one I had over to Heimerdinger's in St. Matthews to see if he could sharpen it. And Heimerdinger wouldn't sharpen it because he's never done one before. He didn't know how to do it. He'd never even seen one before. So if you try to sharpen your own, you might as well try it, but chances are you might ruin it, you know. So the needle nose pruners are probably what you sharpen more than anything. This is one of the Japanese pruners. It's probably Masakuni. It's a precision instrument. I bought it in 1973, and I've used it every year, 4 or 5 times. And it has this spring loaded on it. My little leather holder broke, and Bob Huger put a new one on it for me. Huger's a leathersmith. Did y'all know that? If you have a pruner problem, he'll put his hand on it. I saw these the other day at Stone Lantern. They were like $164. You know.
Yeah, Masakuni is the top of the top Japanese tool manufacturer.
Yeah.
There's many other good tool makers, but Masakuni, it's a very name brand. It's the Porsche of BONSAI.
Yeah. I bought a pair of these a few years ago. These are stainless steel. What I like about them, you can reach way inside and prune something. And these are a little bit harder to get inside because your hands are going in with them. So that's good. These are $100. But I got a better solution for you. This is the Okatsuni brand. The same steel. This is Izumo Yasuki steel. You can buy them from A.M. Leonard. They're called pointer tip hand shears. They're $19.95. And Okatsuni has great steel. And as you can see, the blades are very similar. So that's $164, and that's $20. And they both sharpen about the same. So I've got it down here listed where you can buy it, so you can take a picture of it. And this has a plastic clasp, so it's not going to rot. Okatsuni is great. Okay, so to sharpen these, it's hard to use a flat stone like this. So I use the Easy Lap Diamond Stone. It's got a semi-rough side and a smooth side. It's impregnated with diamond chips. It comes in a little leather case. You can put it in your pocket. And I've had this 20 years, something like that. I just use the rough side first. And again, you don't want to over sharpen your tools. You don't want to sharpen them 5 or 6 times a year because you take all the steel off and then they won't prune good. So, you know, a couple times a year is all you need to do, really. And just hold it away from you. Use the rough side. And when you rub it along the blade, you'll take some of the patina off of it, and you'll see it shine. So you'll see exactly where you're cutting it. and just push away from it 3 or 4 times. Go on the other side, do 3 or 4 times. Then you take the smooth side, go 3 or 4 times on it. So you only sharpen these on one side.
The Masakune, can you take those scissors apart and where you can sharpen the blade individually without, you know?
You probably can, I never do
I
it.
never do it.
Yeah, this is a lot better.
Yeah.
You need to get one of these. So like I said, you just sharpen one side. You don't sharpen the inside, you sharpen the outside. The inside stays flat. So there might be a few burrs on the inside. So after you sharpen both sides, you just take the rough side and just go down one time on the flat side. And that'll take those burrs off. That's just like on a spade. You know, if you're sharpening a spade, you know, you got the top side and then the bottom side. You only sharpen one side on a spade. The curved side, sharpen the curved side. The back side, you keep it flat, so the cut reads better. You know, if the blade point looks like this, it's not going to cut as well. So you just need to cut the top side and leave the back side straight. Okay, that's the Easy Lap Diamond Stone. Then you've got the Remington Hone Stone. It comes in a carrying case too. This comes from Hot Springs, Arkansas. And it's called a Rimrock Pocket Stone. And it comes from a mountain in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And they call the material noviculite. And you can find it online. You know, they're about $20, something like that. So it's more of a stone, it's not steel. And you can feel these, and it works great too. Again, you've got a small stone, and you're just working on a small tool, and it just works great. Like that. Let's see. I think that's it.
Is there a special technique for that curved blade?
Yeah. You know, like this hawkbill. These steels are best, since it's curved and rounded. You can't use a flat. Okay. Won't work. So you can get a sharpening steel like this, and works perfect. Okay.
Just to throw something out there for the regular knife blades, you actually want to get a wire edge on there when you're sharpening that, so you can actually feel a little burr on that other side. So when you clean that back off, that makes your edges both even out before you stroke it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Chaz is a knife maker, so.
Are you? Okay. Good.
He was not impressed.
And did you ever use whetstones?
I think I showed you that knife. Yeah, that's what these
Well,
are.
that is what.
Yeah. With oil.
Is there a difference between oil stones and whetstones?
I don't think so. Is there
What's that?
a difference between oil stone and whetstone?
I mean, you can use water on those stones as well.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
so. You know, if you don't have any oil and you want to be crude, which I've done it numerous times, you just spit on the stone. It spits better than water, you know, and that works. So you can do either one.
So what do you
Okay.
think of your concave cutters?
I bought a pair of stainless steel.
Okay.
There is a tool to do the concave ones. It's actually like almost like a rainmaker's tool.
Right.
And it's you got, you know, the bracelet on there, you can actually get inside there and you can do those inside of that as well, but it's a pain, but you can do it.
I almost ruined a pair, and then I figured since I already ruined it, I went ahead and just tried to fix it, and I actually managed to get it back to where it needed to be. But yeah, you're right. It like the way that I did it is I kind of looked at a light and looked at the two edges to see where they were, and then would take a little off of one side to get them back aligned, but not quite butting.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, but
it worked, but I definitely fucked them up.
it's odd that they don't, it's odd that they don't evenly touch, it's
Yeah.
off slightly.
Yeah, it just like crushes it. They're not properly aligned, it just crushes everything.
All right, any questions?
Yeah, thanks.
If anybody brought her to, I could sharpen it already if you want to. It's like you never need to sharpen those things.